Hello and good morning. Welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Appreciate you guys joining us today. It is a Saturday and we are going to be picking up on day 9 of California versus Monica Sementilli. And the reason we're doing that is yesterday there was a power outage in the media room, which has officially become the banned name for this trial until we come up with a better one. But power outage in the media room. So they were down. Our court feed was down. They did come back. Marco Laurent, who is Fabio's brother-in-law, was on the stand. They did eventually come back, but it's going to be cross. So we only heard 2 things from Marco on direct, was that he's from Toronto and that Fabio gave himself the nickname Big Daddy. So, how's everybody doing today? I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge Ricky Watson, who passed away very suddenly, I guess, yesterday. I'm not sure of any details other than he was fine one day and next day he's not with us. So, Ricky Watson, you were in our chat and appreciate you, hanging with us, and sorry to see you go. I know a lot of people are affected by your passing, so. Sorry to see you go. So let's move on. Let's see. Drama Queen, Drama Landry, and Cajun Bayou Queen. Hello, Shirley Roth. Good morning to you. Therapist and OnlyFan Julie. How are you guys doing? Hola. How are you? Baka of 3. Good to see you guys. Debbie Blair. Did I see you in the? Yep, there you are, Debbie Blair. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. All right, so let's get to it. So our plans today are Monica Sementilli, and then also we're going to go back and we'll pick up and rewatch Catchup, I should say, with Megan Boswell later. So that's what we have planned for today. All right. Just want to make sure my mic, my mic is working good here. So I just want to take a moment just to make sure this is working here. So that's what we have planned. Okay. Think I'm good there. Okay, cool. All right. So let's get to it. This is day 9. Afternoon session because there was a power outage in the media room. So that's what we're picking up on.
Well, counsel are present, jury, and also the present. Good afternoon. Mr. Laurenti, you are still under oath. You may continue with the cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon again, Mr. Laurenti.
Good afternoon.
Before we go back to where we left off, I just wanted to clarify a couple of things with you about your conversations with Monica after Fabio was killed. Some of your conversations with her, she discussed the status of the police investigation, correct?
Yes.
She discussed with you her check-ins with the police. I think you described it as if they had found anybody.
I don't remember.
Okay. Would it refresh your recollection to see your reference to it in your grand jury testimony?
Sure.
Okay. And showing you what you said at the time. Counsel, page number? Page 215. Does that refresh your recollection?
I believe so.
So you did have conversations with Monica about other things other than insurance, correct?
Okay, correct.
And Monica spoke with you about inquiring about the status of the investigation and if they'd found anybody.
Correct.
And you also mentioned earlier about the night of the gathering at the Sementilli home. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And am I correct that on that night, in fact, for all that week, Mela, your partner, had actually been staying in Monica's bedroom at the house. Is that correct?
I sort of recall that.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that in the early part of the evening, Monica had taken a sleeping pill.
If I remember correctly, yes.
And she'd gone into her room,
Yes.
correct? And then later came back out and joined the gathering. Is that correct?
At one point she did. She was in the living room, and I don't remember which happened first.
Okay. But at some point during the evening, she had taken a sleeping pill.
I think so.
Okay. Mr. Laurenti, we talked earlier about the text messages you had with Monica between the date Fabio was killed and the time Monica was arrested, and that was between January 23rd and June 14th. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you talked about how the first messages, exchanges you had about insurance were around this time where you all were discussing you drafting the letter. Is that correct?
Okay.
Okay. Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you, in those communications you had with Monica, am I correct that you, after you told her you were going to draft this letter, you also told her you were going to talk to your lawyer about things you needed, things for her to send?
To a lawyer. I don't remember which one, but they just spoke to me over the phone.
Okay. But it was about things you were going to need from Monica for her to send.
Yeah, I just needed to know circumstances. That's it. She sent me that other information, yes.
Okay. And so when you said on, and referring to People's Exhibit 112, when you told her in the text message on May 25 at 11:28, thanks, Mo, when I speak to my lawyer, I will let you know what else I might need. What are you referring to?
I think at that point she was just accumulating information and sending it to me. I didn't necessarily ask for that information because we've had other conversations that are not reflected in the emails, where at one point I said to her, I'll draft it for you. You do as you wish with it. You have all the people you can send it to, and I suggested who she should send it to. If she did it or didn't, I don't know.
Okay. And you then, with the information you had, whatever that was, you drafted the letter.
with whatever information we had via text or phone calls, I drafted a letter.
Okay. And showing you that letter, can you read the letter? It's number 13. Exhibit 111. And People's Exhibit 111, this is the letter you drafted, Mr. Laurenti, correct?
Correct.
And you indicated in the letter that you were, this is as Monica, right? You were asking her to send it from herself, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And to whoever she might send it to, you were asking her, or you drafted these things for her to send, correct?
I drafted this as a guideline. That's why it's referred to as a draft.
Okay. Well, where is it referred to as a draft?
On our phone calls.
Okay. So you put dear blank, whoever she was going to send it to, and this was the content that you drafted.
Correct.
Okay. And you sent that to her May 29th, is that correct? Or May 30th? Yes?
Correct.
May 30th at 3:01 p.m.?
If that's what it says, yes.
Okay. And then on May 30 at 6:24 p.m., 3 hours later, you contacted Monica again, correct?
If that's what the text says, yes.
You contacted her that same afternoon, about 3 hours later, asking if she sent the email.
Correct.
Okay. And you then receive a text from Monica asking you if before she sends anything, should I CC his captain too, referring to a police captain. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you respond to her, correct?
I think so.
Okay. But also when she sends that to you, she also talks about having difficulties with her daughter, correct? It's not just about sending your letter.
Sending her letter? No, it's not.
Okay. And she tells you that she's having a hard time with Bella. That she needs to talk to her, Bella, today. She's being distant and rude, and that Monica needs to squash it before it gets any worse. And she tells you, related to Bella, I never know if I'm making the right decisions. I need Fabio's direction and advice. Everything sucks. She tells you that?
In the text, yes.
Okay, but that's not as saying she needs Fabio's direction about insurance. That's about Fabio's direction she needs about handling Bella, correct?
Correct.
And then after she talks to you about Bella, you respond to her earlier question about whether Monica asking you to direct her as to whether she should send the letter to the police. You tell her the following. Send to police and insurance. Yes, captain as well. Make sure you reference insurance company with info you send. You sent that to her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you reach out again, and I just want to make sure I have give you the correct date. You reach out yet again to Monica. Yourself and say to her, hey, did you get any kind of response to the email you sent out? If no, send another email stating, please acknowledge the email I sent to you on date/time. You sent that to her, correct?
Yes.
And you were curious to see what the response, if any, was to any letters she sent based on what you drafted, correct?
Yes and no.
Okay. Yes, you were curious to find out.
No, I'm a follow-up guy by nature.
Okay.
So I do that with everything that I do.
Okay.
So it's my pattern. It wasn't a special treatment for her.
Understood. Monica also consulted with you, did she not, about some requests for records that the police had made of her. Is that correct?
Request for records. Refresh my memory.
Am I correct that Monica reached out to you and told you that the police had asked her to forward to them some phone records?
Oh, the home and the cell.
Okay. And you asked her on June 7 at 7:33, am I right? You asked her which phone records are they looking for? And you were referring to the request she had relayed that the police wanted her to send some of her phone records, correct?
Correct.
And you asked in your response, cell or home, correct?
Yes.
And she responded, I asked them, probably home phone. And then you responded, correct?
Let me see that, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked them, prob home phone, and.
And is there more to that?
It appears to be cut off on the document you gave. It's cut off, so I don't see that. I think probably they were asking for cell records. Is your understanding?
Probably.
Okay. And your response to Monica asking you about sending those records, you told her, give only home for now.
Right.
And she asked you in response, why only home?
Okay.
Okay. Why did you tell her only to give her home phone records?
Probably so she could see what it is that they're looking for. I don't remember why. Start with that and then give them the other ones after. I don't know.
So when you told her to only give certain records to the police, you're not sure why you did that?
No. It was a casual response.
then you reached out again, I think it's June 11th. Let's see. You reach out one final time, June 11 at 8:25 at night, and you say, hope you get some positive news, referencing the letter you drafted, correct?
Just in general, I hope you get some positive news soon.
Okay, but you put in parens letter. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So I hope you get some positive news, a letter from the investigators so the three of you can move on. Was a good time in New York. You sent that to her, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this New York trip, this was Vanessa's graduation from medical school?
Correct.
It's wonderful. And Vanessa was Morella's daughter, correct?
Yes.
Your stepdaughter or?
Correct.
Okay. And you mentioned before, the prosecutor put up this picture of Monica smoking a cigar, correct?
Yes.
And you mentioned before,
For the record, what exhibit number is it?
it's 113 or 157? 113. Correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned that you all had all gone to a some kind of cigar club, correct?
Cigar Lounge in New York.
Okay, and who arranged that? Monica didn't arrange that, correct?
I think Mela arranged it.
Okay, so Morella, your partner, arranged it,
Correct.
and it was at a cigar club where people smoke cigars?
It's also a restaurant and a lounge.
Okay, but when you went, Monica wasn't the only one smoking a cigar, correct?
No. Of course not.
Were you smoking cigars?
Yes.
I'm objecting to Lola.
And am I right, Mr. Laurenti, you were never interviewed between the time Fabio was killed in January of 2017 through the date that Monica was arrested in June of 2017, correct?
No. Yes. Correct.
In fact, you were not interviewed at all by the police until they had contacted you to inform you that Monica had been arrested. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, when the police contacted you, they first informed you that they had arrested Monica and a man named Robert Baker, correct?
The phone call that came in was with Mela, but it was on speakerphone. I was with her.
Okay. And you heard them tell Morella that they had arrested Monica with someone named Robert Baker, correct?
Correct.
And you heard them tell Morella that they had found Robert Baker's blood in the home and thought he was the killer, correct?
Correct.
And they also told you that Monica, it had been revealed that Monica had been having an affair with Robert Baker. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And knowing that, you the next day contacted the police, correct?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember on June 15, 2017, at 10:45, let's see, LA time, calling Detective Parshall in the case?
I have no reason to deny that, but I don't recall.
Okay. Isn't it true, Mr. Laurenti, that you in fact
I'm going to object, Your Honor, but just from the way the question is starting, it can't be impeached with something you don't remember.
I heard the question. Say your objection on submission.
Let me rephrase, Your Honor. Mr. Laurenti, you called the police that day and discussed with the police the fact that even though you were aware that Monica had been having an affair, and even though you were aware that the person she had been having an affair with, you and Mela believed and questioned whether Monica was in fact innocent. Is that correct?
Objection. No foundation. She doesn't remember. Correct.
You discussed with the police the fact that you were well aware that Monica had been having an affair, and I think you described swinging, correct?
Correct.
And you were, in spite of that, and in spite of knowing what you had learned from the police, that Mr. Baker had his blood in the home at the scene of the crime, you were questioning whether the police really had evidence that Monica was actually involved.
Same objection.
Sustained. It's irrelevant, counsel. This was a police.
You also discussed earlier, Mr. Laurenti, and I just have a few more questions. I know this is hard. You have discussed previously in response to the prosecutor's questions about your relationship with Bella and Jess. Do you recall that?
Okay.
Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you said that there was one contact with Bella and Jess in the summer of 2017, correct?
Correct.
And that was after Monica had been arrested, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Bella and Jess at the time were 18, and Jess was 18, and Bella was 16, is that correct?
Probably.
Okay. And did you come down to LA anytime after Monica's arrest to visit with them?
After that?
Uh-huh.
No.
Okay. They actually went up to Canada and visited with you where you live, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you ever, after that one occasion, did you ever try to come down to LA or suggest you were going to come down to LA to visit?
No.
Okay. And is there any reason why you didn't?
I'm not understanding your question. I'm sorry.
Okay. You mentioned there was only one contact that you had with Fabio and Monica's daughters, Jess and Bella, after she was arrested, correct?
That's what I remember, yes.
Okay. And that was not a contact you had with them because you came down to LA. It was because they came up to Canada and they visited with you, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then you said there was no more contact with Bella and Jess, correct?
I believe not.
Okay. My question is there a reason that you did not have any further contact with Jess and Bella?
I usually leave that up to Mela when we contact her family. So I left it alone. In fact, the day that they came to our house in the summer of 2017, they were only allowed to come because certain ground rules were set and what we could and could not talk to them about.
Okay. Well, their mom at that point had been arrested, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And were these ground rules set by you or Mela?
No, they weren't set by us.
Okay. Do you know who they were set by?
Monica's family.
Okay. Do you know who in Monica's family?
I don't remember if it was the mother or Anna.
Okay. And did somebody speak directly to you about those ground
I
rules?
think Anna might have spoken to Mela, but I don't remember.
Okay, but no one spoke to you about any ground
No.
rules? Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Yes. Besides the text string that we talked about that was marked as Exhibit 112, you indicated that in between these texts you were having phone calls with the defendant.
Correct.
And in fact, phone calls are referenced within the text string, correct?
Correct.
When you were asked by defense counsel if Monica took a sleeping pill, that was based on what the defendant said, not what you personally observed?
Objection, reading.
It was set between conversations had with her and Mela, and I don't know who else was there. I overheard.
Okay. But you didn't actually see her take a sleeping pill?
No.
Oh. So you don't know if she did or she didn't, correct?
Correct.
When you were having this text conversation with the defendant, on April 9th, where the defendant was saying, said that she was missing him more and more, and that things were getting worse instead of better. Did you know at that point in time that the defendant was having an affair?
Objection, relevance.
Did you know at that point in time?
I don't think so.
You didn't find out about the affair until Deborah Obad called you.
Correct.
Right after the arrest on June 14th, correct?
Correct.
And so when defense counsel said, asked you a question about you being aware that the defendant had been having an affair and was swinging, in other words, having sex with other individuals, that was told to you by Deborah Obad the day prior after the arrest on June 14th.
I think so.
So up until that point, no one in the family knew that
No.
Monica was having an affair.
Objection.
No.
Facts not in evidence.
I think I just stand on that ground.
I'm sorry, what was it?
False speculation.
You didn't know
No.
that there was any affair
No.
until you got the call on the night of the arrest.
Correct.
And that was from Miss Obad, who informed you that the defendant not only was having an affair, but was
Correct.
swinging with other couples.
Correct.
And when the defendant was indicating to you that things were getting worse instead of better, at that point in time, were you aware that the defendant was, again, having an affair with Robert Baker?
Objection, asked and answered.
Your Honor, I have a set of 2 photographs dated April 8th of the defendant. May it be marked as People's Next in order?
116.
Thank you. Showing you People's 116 Were you aware that the defendant was with Mr. Baker the night before she was texting you saying things are getting worse?
Objection, no foundation. The witness has already testified.
I'm sorry, you're making a big objection.
Thank you.
It's finding of facts, not an evidence as to that particular question. It needs to stand on that ground.
Okay. From looking at these photographs, were you aware the night before, her saying things are getting better, that the defendant was with Mr. Baker the night before? Things were getting worse, sorry.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, you already told us that you didn't know about the affair until the night of the arrest when you were called by Ms. Obad. Correct?
Can I?
Sure.
Okay. So, what's bogging me down is timelines. At one point, Deborah did call me and told me that Jessica had given up the passwords to Monica's computer and that her mother and her sister found out that she was swinging and having affairs. And somehow, Baker was involved. So to what extent at that time, I didn't know a lot, but I started having an idea that something was going on.
Did Ms. Obad relate to you at any point in time that she was also aware that while Fabio was out of town on business prior to his murder, that Jessica found Baker sleeping in her mother's bed?
Your Honor, that's hearsay, double hearsay, and facts not in evidence.
So stand on the first ground.
Did Ms. Obad ever mention anything to you?
Yes, she did.
She did. Okay. What did Ms. Obad tell you?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Other than what's already been covered, sustained.
When you were trying to help the defendant obtain the insurance money, that was because you believed that she was a loyal member of your family.
Objection leading.
Correct.
Sustained.
Why did you decide to try and help the defendant obtain the insurance proceeds from her husband Fabio's life insurance?
Because at the time I didn't think she was the killer yet. And she was a mother and had 2 children.
Did you know at the time that the defendant was sending you information on May 25th regarding Fabio's life insurance policy? Did she ever tell you that at that point in time that she was in Myrtle Beach with Robert Baker?
Objection, facts not in evidence.
So rule.
No.
Your Honor, I have a set again of 2 photographs of the defendant. If they could please be marked as People's 117.
Yes.
Your Honor, we would also be raising a relevance objection. It's irrelevant whether this witness knows these things at this time.
That's a rule.
Showing you photographs from May 26th of 2017. Were you aware that the defendant was at a Paradise Party compound with Baker in Myrtle Beach when she was sending you information to try and help her obtain her husband's life insurance proceeds?
No.
Facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
At some point in time, did you learn that the defendant had gone to Myrtle Beach with Robert Baker?
No.
You never knew that. You're hearing that for the first time today?
Yeah.
When the defendant, when you were sending messages to the defendant on June 2nd saying, thinking of you and the girls, can't help but, I don't know what this is. Something every day, big hugs. Were you aware that when you were, and she responded with a heart emoji and praying hands, were you aware that the defendant was with Robert Baker that day?
No.
Well, I have another set of 2 photographs from June 2nd, if they could be marked as People's 118.
Very well.
Show you 118. Were you aware on that particular day, once again, that the defendant was with Robert Baker while she was sending you these text messages?
No.
Your Honor, we would object again. That's not an evidence.
The answer's already in.
352.
No, that calls for a balancing process that I've already utilized.
Would it be fair to say that had you known that the defendant had been lying to you
Objection, argument.
I don't know that. Finish your question.
about the fact that she was, in fact, a grieving widow versus having a torrid affair where she was swinging with other couples, would you have gone to all of this trouble?
Sustained.
I have nothing further.
Anything further?
Just briefly, Mr. Laurenti, if you had known when Monica, when you reached out to Monica to offer to draft the letter for insurance, because she was, I think you said, a mother with 2 girls after her husband had been killed, and you and if the evidence showed that Monica was not involved in any way in the planning of Fabio's death, would you have believed that that was something that was important and proper to do?
Objection, argument.
Sustained.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Thank you, sir. You're excused. People may call the next witness.
Thank you. People call Mela Sementilli. Yeah.
Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state your testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat in the witness stand. Adjust the microphone so we can hear you. And for the record, state and spell your first and last name, please.
My name is Mela Sementilli.
Spell, please.
Mirella. Last name is Sementilli. Sementilli.
Thank you. Ms. Sementilli, can you tell us what your relationship was to Fabio Sementilli?
He was my little brother.
Okay. And how many children were in your family?
I was the middle child, and I have an older sister,
And what's her name?
Loretta.
You refer to her as Lori.
Lori, yeah.
Showing you exhibit 13. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes, that's Fabio.
And what is he doing in this picture?
He's probably putting on an incredible show for all the hairdressers who adored and loved him.
Is that what he did on a regular basis?
Yes, he was an MC as well as an awarded hairdresser.
As were you, correct?
Yes.
Showing you Exhibit 73, do you recognize what you see here?
Yes.
And who are these individuals?
My brother, who's proudly hugging his 3 children, Luigi, Jessica, and Isabella.
Okay. And where are you and your family from, along with Fabio?
We're from Canada, Toronto. We were born in the city of Toronto. My mother, myself, my sister, and father were born in Italy. Fabio was the only one born in Canada.
Okay. And so your family, with the exception of Fabio, were immigrants that came to this country?
Yes.
Or not to this country, but to Canada?
To Canada, yes.
So are you also the godmother of one of Fabio's daughters?
Yes, Isabella.
And did you and your brother Fabio and your sister Lori all have a close relationship?
We did, yes, we did.
Did you have a close relationship with your parents?
Yes, very much so. We lost our father at a very young age, and my mom became our supporter. My brother was 9, I was 13, and my sister was 16. He was 39 when he passed.
Your father?
Yes.
And in order to support your family, did your mother have to earn a living to support the 3 of you and herself?
My mom, with basic education, worked 3 jobs to support us. We used to carry a key around our neck on a rope to go to school and take care of ourselves. Our older sister used to oversee us and made sure we ate, but my mom worked all the time.
What kind of work did your mom do?
She worked in a factory. She used to work where they knit sweaters. And she also cleaned a veterans hall as a cleaning lady. And on weekends, she worked at the flea market selling sweaters. And we used to go and help her a lot. We were always supporting each other the best we can.
Your brother Fabio, when he was a kid, did he start various jobs and businesses in order to assist the family with making money?
Yes, he did. He worked as a supermarket stock boy at, he first had a newspaper job at 13, and then he worked at a supermarket stocking shelves at 16. And around 17, he used to also help with the Veterans Banquet Hall as well, washing pots and pans.
Sure. At some point in time, did you become a hairdresser?
Yes, I did.
And at some point in time, did Fabio start working with you?
Yes, he did.
And did you own a salon at that point?
I did. I owned a salon as early as 83.
And what was the name of that salon?
Modelli.
Modelli?
Modelli.
Okay. And when Fabio began working for you, did he eventually go to school to learn to cut hair and do color and things of that nature?
He did. He was working for me part-time, and then he loved it, and he was very, very talented, and he decided to go to hairdressing school.
All right. And subsequently, did you and Fabio own and run a salon together for many years?
Yes, we did. We, after he had his own salon, we felt we were far apart and we can consolidate. So we went into business together in 2001 called Salon Shampoo.
Okay. And the two of you owned it together?
Yes, we did.
And how many years did the two of you own and run this salon together?
Until he left for LA, 2009 or 10.
All right. And while the two of you were running and working at this salon, did Fabio become a platform or artist for Wella?
Yes, he did.
And did you do the same?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And while you were before Salon Shampoo, when you were working at Modelli, when you owned Modelli and Fabio worked at Modelli with you, did you and Fabio meet the defendant?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
And the defendant, you know Monica Sementilli is your sister-in-law of almost 20 years, right?
Yes.
You see her here in court?
Yes.
Can you identify her?
Yes, she's here to my right, wearing a black blazer.
And while you and Fabio were working and you owned Modelli, that was in Canada, correct?
Yes.
How is it that you came into contact with the defendant?
She worked in a clothing boutique 3 doors down from the salon, Modelli.
Okay. And at that time, Fabio was married, correct?
Yes, he was.
And had a son,
Yes.
who we see in this photograph.
Yes, Luigi, yeah.
And at some point in time, did Fabio decide to open his own salon?
Yes, he did.
And when he left Modelli to open his own salon, at that point in time, did the defendant go with him?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And for a period of time before Fabio opened his own salon, did the defendant come and work for you?
Yes.
And what was she doing at your salon, at Modelli?
She was doing nails and makeup upstairs on the 2nd floor.
So you rented out a space to her?
Yes.
All right. And when Fabio left, what was the name of his salon?
Salon Fabio.
And what did the defendant do at Salon Fabio?
Well, Fabio cut hair and she ran the business.
Okay. Who handled the books, the finances?
Monica.
Okay. And at some point, did Fabio get divorced from his first wife and get married to the defendant?
Yes.
And that was in February of 97?
Yes.
Does that sound about right?
They got married, yes.
Okay. And you said then at some point you and Fabio came back together and opened a Salon Shampoo together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And did the defendant again work in the business with you and Fabio?
She worked on the 2nd floor as well, again as a makeup artist, nail technician.
Okay. She had gone to school for that at some point?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And would you say that you and the defendant were very close for many years?
Yes.
Did you think of her like a sister, like you did with Loretta?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have a photograph from August 6th of 2016. May it be marked as People's, I think it's 117?
Where's the photograph of?
It's a photograph of the defendant with Mela and Loretta. Showing you Exhibit 119. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
Is this you with Loretta and the defendant?
Yes.
And where was this taken?
At my house in Woodbridge, Ontario.
Okay. That's where you live with your significant other, Marco?
Yes, Marco.
Okay. And when the defendant married your brother, did you also become close to her entire family in Canada?
Yes.
And did Fabio become close with the defendant's family?
Yes.
Prior to Fabio's murder, were you also close with Fabio's daughters, including your goddaughter?
Yes.
And did you spend a lot of time with them prior to the time that Fabio moved with his family to Los Angeles?
Yes, a lot.
Once they moved to Los Angeles, did you see Fabio on a regular basis?
Yes, we did.
He would come up to Canada to visit his family, and you would also come down?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also do business in the Los Angeles area?
I did.
Was that also through Mela?
Yes.
Had you been to both of Fabio's homes in the San Fernando Valley? The first home that was a rental before the Queen Victoria home?
Yes, I had.
All right. And did you and your family spend holidays still together?
Yes, we did.
Approximately how often would you say that you and Fabio would speak?
At least every weekend, if not twice a week.
Okay. And when you came to Fabio and Monica's home on Queen Victoria, where did you used to spend time with him?
Usually it was a beautiful day in LA, and it was always cold in Toronto, so we'd always be outside on the patio.
Okay. Showing you what's been previously marked as People's 9. It has a page 20 in the bottom left corner. Is this the patio area?
Yes, it is.
Is this the area where you and the families would get together?
Yes.
And was there a particular chair that you knew was Fabio's favorite chair, or where he would routinely sit?
Yes, he would sit to the chair here on my right, closest to the pillar.
The one here, the brown pad?
Closest to the cement plant box, yes.
If I show you People's 9, page 21,
Same,
that
yes.
would be the photograph I'm pointing to here, as you said, closest to the pillar?
Yeah.
And would when Fabio and the defendant and their kids moved to, their daughters moved to the Los Angeles area, did you also keep in touch with Monica?
Yes, I did.
And who handled the family's finances, if you know?
Thorough.
Monica.
And did she tell you that she's the one that handled everything?
Yes, she did. I was curious about some cell phone charges, like what did she pay on her cell phone package. And I was asking Fabio or anybody, and she says, oh, don't ask him. He knows nothing about the utilities. I pay for everything.
Okay. So she told you that she was in charge of all of the bills?
Yes.
And did she also discuss with you that she was the one who made child support payments to Vonda for Luigi?
Yeah, she was very proud that she was the one communicating with Luigi's mother and not Fabio.
Okay. So she dealt directly with Vonda?
Yes, she did.
And did the defendant also tell you that she handled all of Fabio's paperwork from the business?
Thorough.
Yes, she did. She handled it all so that Fab can be free to be creative.
And in terms of the family's calendar and scheduling, who was in charge of that? Like if you wanted to set up a time to get together.
Fabio had told me that if there was any family events or, mom needed any help or time with his mom, that I should communicate with Monica so she can organize his calendar, because he wasn't doing that anymore. Monica was doing that for him.
Did you also know Fabio's professional assistant at Wella?
Yes.
And who is that?
Alicia.
You have a photograph of Alicia Truesdale, maybe Marcus Peoples 120.
Yes.
Showing you 120. Do you recognize this person?
Yes.
And who is that?
Alicia Truesdale.
Okay. And had you come to know Alicia very well from your work at Wella?
Yes.
You want to have another photograph of the witness along with her sister and mother, may it be Marcus Peoples 121.
Yes.
Showing you Peoples 121. Do you recognize who you see here?
Yes.
Is that you and your sister and your mother?
Yes.
And was Fabio very close with your mother?
Yes, he adored her.
He was you said the youngest, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I want to show you Exhibit 96. Do you recognize the email address as that of your brother's while he was working for P&G in 2016?
Yes, it is.
Do you also recognize the defendant's email address, halmatimo@hotmail?
Yes, it is.
Again, showing you Exhibit 97 from 2016. Did you know that eventually Cody bought out Wella from P&G?
Oh, yes, yes.
You were part of all of that
Yes.
situation. Do you recognize Fabio's email address once Cody purchased the business?
Yes, I do.
And once again, the address for the defendant?
Yes.
At some point in July of 2016, did you fly to Las Vegas for the Trend Vision show?
Yes, I did.
You want to have another photograph of this witness along with the defendant. May it be marked as Peoples 121. Thank you. Showing you Exhibit 122. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes, I do.
Where was this photograph taken?
This was in Las Vegas at the Aria, I believe, and we were having, Wella was having a big event for Trend Vision. It's like a competition for North America, and I was working one of the days, but I had some time off, so that's the evening of the event, the opening, grand opening event.
Did you spend time both with Fabio and the defendant when you attended this event in Las Vegas in July of 2016?
Not a lot of time. Fabio was very, very busy, and he had asked me to meet up with Monica because she was coming, and that was a surprise to me. And I said, yeah, I'll have lunch with her. So I met her in the lobby.
At the hotel?
And then we had, yes, and we had a quick lunch, and then I went back to work.
Okay. And Fabio, is he the in charge of this event or the MC of this event?
Yeah, he spearheaded that event. It was a competition, almost like an Olympics, where hairdressers got together and would compete for, to win the coveted trophy for the year of that event, and they would be recognized as the Trend Vision Award winner. And so Canada and the US would come together, and Fabio was pretty much in charge with all of the production and everything, and he was the MC, and everybody would just stop him constantly in the halls. And
so was he, during the day, he would be busy in various events or planning for the evening events?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So we've heard a lot about the term platform artist.
Mm-hmm.
You were a platform artist. What did you and Fabio do when you traveled as platform artists around the world?
It's overruled.
Well, when we were a lot younger, started in the hair industry, we would train for competitively to be in competitions all over the world. We traveled together and we would compete and create creations like wonderful, beautiful hair. And within 7 minutes, they would say go, and then stop, and then the judges would come around and look at your model, and then we would all wait for the awards ceremony. And Fabio and I did very well in those arenas. Fabio won in Las Vegas. He won in Germany. I won in a few myself, and we just really were a very strong team. And because of that, a lot of hair color companies were always asking us to endorse their product. And so we gladly did so, and we continued to do a lot of educational work on platforms because we were up on a riser. And people would come to our classes and learn the newest tricks and tips in the hair industry.
Okay.
And we just kept getting huge numbers at our events. So eventually Fabio became permanent with Wella in that area.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's those competitions as platform artists is what led the two of you to become independent contractors for a period of time with Fabio.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we all understood what that was. So during the week that you were in Vegas for the Trend Vision Awards, that would have been the week of July 22nd of 2016 through the 28th?
Correct.
Okay. And you said you had lunch with the defendant one day, but other than that, the defendant would have been on her own because you and Fabio were busy working.
Correct.
All right. Now, when was the last time that you saw your brother?
I saw my brother January 17 to approximately the 20th.
Were you in town on business that week?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And did you come into town with somebody?
Yes, I came to town with a colleague of mine, Antonio Quintieri.
Antonio, was he a hairdresser that worked with you and Fabio at Salon Shampoo in Toronto?
Yes, he worked for us for a short time, and then he also became a platform artist as well.
For Wella?
For Wella.
So during that week, some point in time, did you go to Fabio's home?
Yes, I did.
And when you got to the house that day, did Fabio seem like his usual gregarious self?
No, not at all. We were on our way to the house in a taxi, and I got a text message from him saying maybe today's not a good day. And I told him I'm minutes away. I didn't want him to do that. I'm coming. And then when we got there, we pulled in, and I didn't get the usual warm Fabio that I usually have, that he's usually so happy to see us. And he was looking quite concerned, working with his golf clubs. And then we walked in, and it was close to dinner time. It was probably 4:35, and we weren't served any beverages or food or anything.
Were you planning on, like, had this evening been planned for you to come to the home?
Yeah, it was planned weeks ahead of time, because we had to run something by Fabio since he was head of education. Even though I was a sister, I had to still talk business sometimes, and we got there, and I wanted to do it at his house so I could see the family, but he wasn't himself.
All right. And how about the defendant? Was she there that day?
She was there that day, yes. And usually, again, when I come to visit, there's usually some food or a spread, or everybody's happy to see me, and I didn't feel that way, and there was no food, there's no spread. We were hungry, and I thought maybe we would have to go out to eat something.
So you had thought you were going there for dinner that night?
I thought she would put some food on, yeah.
Okay. So did you have any conversation with her that you recall at this point?
Vaguely, very short.
Okay. And then shortly after that time, did you return home to Canada?
Yeah, well, the beginning of our trip, I passed by to see Fabio. Usually I extend my trip and I stay a little longer, and I stay with the family either even one more day or so, but no, this time I didn't. I just went home.
Okay. And how is it that you learned about your brother's murder?
I was ready to start a conference call. It was 9 o'clock on Monday night, January the 23rd, and I got a phone call, and I was the head of this project that we were working on, so I avoided the call, and then I got a call again within the next minute, and so I answered the call, and it was my niece, Jessica, yelling, and it was breaking up, and she, it was breaking up, and it was Monica calling, saying, they killed Fabio, and then the phone was cracking up, and then I was like, it doesn't even sound like her. I'm like, this is a crazy joke. And then Jessica came on the phone. She goes, Zia, like Auntie, Daddy's dead. Someone killed Daddy, and it was blood everywhere, and she started breaking down, and then I'm breaking down, and I'm like, can't be true.
So the first person that you spoke to that night was the defendant, who said that they killed Fabio?
She did. She said they.
Okay. Had you spoken to the police at this point in time yet?
No, I had not.
Now, after this conversation, did you fly down to Los Angeles along with the rest of your family? That would be your mother and your sister and all the cousins and the extended family. Luigi?
Yes. My mom was sick. She was recovering from cancer, and it was a little hard to tell her that her son had been murdered. So it took us some time, and then on Wednesday we got on a flight. It was maybe 8 or 9 of us, family members, and then some more followed the next day. But we landed on the Wednesday, the 25th.
Did you go directly to the home at Queen Victoria where you had just been a few days before?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And when you got to the house, did you see the defendant?
Yes, we did.
And did you tell her beforehand that you were all coming?
Yes, we did.
All right. And what did she do when you came to the house that day on the 25th?
She looked very distraught. She was upset. She was
Did she
holding Fabio's sweater, and she was just sobbing and sighing and exasperated. And
okay. And did she take you on a tour to show you what she had seen in the house?
Yes, she did. She took us into the kitchen, and my sister, myself, and my daughter were there following her, and she was telling us that they used vinegar. Do you see? They used vinegar. Do you smell it? Can you still smell it? Why would they use vinegar? Was it to get rid of any DNA? Was it to get rid of DNA? And then she said, they didn't even use my knives. They didn't even use the knives. They were sitting right here. They didn't use my knives. And then she kept walking us around and showed us that there was blood stains on the floor, but they're clean now. And then she mentioned they took her DVR because the monitor they had in the kitchen was black. So we were looking like we were on a tour, and then she's pointing, there's stains on the door here. I guess the insurance company is going to come and paint again, and come and paint this. Then she took us into the bedroom.
And what did she do when are you talking about the master bedroom?
Yes, the master bedroom.
And what, if anything, did she point out or show you in the master bedroom?
She showed us some blood stains that were black now, and she said there was blood stains here. We were robbed, and they took money. They opened the safe.
She said they opened the safe?
Yes, they opened the safe. It's broken. Can't close it.
She said the safe was broken?
Broken. And then she started going through Fabio's jacket pockets, his suit pockets, saying that Fabio keeps money everywhere. He's got money everywhere. I don't get him. Now she's like angry, and she's going through his pockets and pulling out cash.
From the pockets?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And then at some point, she gave $800 in change to my mom from all the money she collected in the pockets.
In Canadian money?
In Canadian money.
Okay. And at some point, did you also have contact with her family at the home?
Oh, yes. Everybody was there. At one time, we could have been like 20 people there. And Wella was bringing food for us, and everybody was very grateful for that. And then at one time, the mom had said, we got to tell Wella to stop sending food. I don't want no more food.
So where were you all congregating?
Outdoors mostly.
On the patio area?
In the patio area and in the kitchen.
Okay. And at some point in time on the following day, did individuals from Wella come to the home while you were there?
Yes, they did.
And did that include the CEO, Sal?
Yes.
Did you know Sal?
Yes, I did.
And who else came with Sal to the house that day, if you recall?
Sal Mosseri came, David Diaz came, and Henry Meyer.
Okay. Did you know all these people from Wella?
Yes, I did.
All right. And did they sit down with you and the defendant and others?
They had asked to speak to her privately, and if they wanted us to leave the room, and she said everybody could leave the room except for Monica's sister and myself.
Okay. So you and her sister sat down with these gentlemen?
Yes.
And the defendant?
Yes.
And did they at that time go over some of the financial support that Fabio had put into place, including life insurance policies?
Yes, it was the first time I had seen them since the murder, and they had come over to tell Monica what Wella was prepared to do, and they had told her that he had life insurance and also something about indemnity, double indemnity, and that they were going to take care of Monica anywhere, like they're going to try for 6 months. There's anything you need. They were constantly reaching out if she needed anything. And that same day I said, maybe there are 3 girls by themselves in the house, maybe you can get a security guard or someone to help or replace the DVR or some security.
You said that?
Yes, I did.
Who did you say that to?
All 3 of them.
And what, if anything, did anybody respond?
I was stopped before I can even finish my sentence. Monica said, no, absolutely not. I'm fine. We're going to be fine.
And did she say anything else? Did you ask her if she was afraid at all of staying in this house alone, given that you were asking the gentlemen who were offering help for security?
Yes, that's why I assumed she was going to be scared because what had happened, and and they were out there.
And what did she say?
She said that they're not scared, no negativity in this house. Sementilli power, and she was just constantly coaching the kids that they were going to be fine in their home that their father built for them or bought for them or set up.
Sementilli power, is that something your brother used to say?
Yeah, he would say wonderful memes like that, like charge that mountain, you can do it, chin up, Sementilli power.
Council, let me interrupt. We'll take our afternoon recess for 15 minutes. The admonition applies. I'll see you back here in 15 minutes.
All right, so while they take their recess, we will just quickly go over. So we came back because there was power outage in the media room. Don't forget that. So that's why we're doing this catch-up. Otherwise, we would be caught up. So anyway, so they came back, and Marco Laurent, who was married to Fabio's sister, which I'm assuming is this Mela, which, yes, is Mela. They came back with Cross. Something about Monica taking sleeping pills. Then the text came in, or he texted to Monica, when I speak to my lawyer, I will let you know what else I might find. And they're just kind of going back and forth. But at one point, Monica says she's having a hard time with Bella. She's being distant and rude. I need Fabio's direction and advice. And then he says, I'm a follow-up guy by nature, and it wasn't special treatment to Monica. And then when the girls came to visit, Monica's family set up certain ground rules, which I thought was really odd. Like they couldn't talk to them about certain things. So again, strange. Then redirect came back. So he was told. So Marco was told that by Deborah Obad, he was told about the affair, and he's like, what's bogging me down is the timeline. Deborah called and said Jessica told her Monica and Baker were swinging. And that's what Deborah Obad told Marco. Very strange. And then the first time he was hearing about this trip to Myrtle Beach that Monica and Baker took, that's the very first time that he heard about that. Can you imagine being on the stand and that's the first time you hear about this? All right, so then Mela Sementilli comes up, and she's the sister of Fabio. She's the middle child. They have an older son. So there's 2 boys and the 1 girl. She's also godmother to Isabella. Their father passed away when he was 39, so mom had to take 3 jobs, and she got very emotional at this part. She describes that her mom worked at a factory knitting sweaters. She was also a cleaning lady, and then on the weekend she sold those sweaters at a flea market. But then in 1983, she started Modelli. This was all in Toronto. Fabio loved it. He loved hair cutting, hair styling, so he went to school for that. And then he had his own salon. And then they started the salon together in 2001. This is where we hear that Monica and Fabio met at that salon, because Monica worked in a clothing boutique 3 doors down. But Fabio was married and he had Luigi. So we knew that already, but this is just confirmation of that. Monica was doing hair and makeup upstairs, so they were renting this space upstairs for Monica. And then Fabio's salon was called Salon Fabio. And then, so eventually Fabio got divorced from Vanda, and then Monica and he hooked up. Monica was running the books, and then the new salon, Monica did the same. So Monica did hair, makeup, hair, and then also she ran the books. Mela and Fabio spoke very often. They spoke every weekend, if not twice a week. And then whenever she visited whenever they came out, because she was living in Toronto, so when she would come out to LA to visit Fabio and Monica, they would always sit outside on the patio, because she said Toronto was always cold and it was always warm and sunny in LA. Imagine that. This is also where we hear that Monica handled all the finances. She says, don't ask Fabio. He knows nothing. I pay for everything. So she made the child support payments to Vonda. Marilla said that she, meaning Monica, was very proud of that she made these child support payments to Vonda. And Fabio also said any family events, communicate with Monica. So he didn't, he basically just wanted, it sounds like he just wanted to cut hair and do his education, and he didn't want to deal with all the other stuff that goes into being an adult. Alicia, we heard about Alicia, who is Fabio's assistant at Wella. Then they show this image that when they went to Las Vegas, Fabio was very busy, and he asked Marilla to meet up with Monica, and they had the lunch the one day. Then Marilla talks about these competitions and these platform artists, and they're literally on a platform and they're competing against each other. And I think, Julie, I saw you say Hair Olympics. I kind of missed that. But the Hair Olympics, and then awards, awards are presented and won, and Fabio did really well. So that's how he kind of made a name for himself. And then he was hired as an independent contractor at Wella. And then eventually they offered him a full-time gig. She last saw Fabio, she said, between January 17th and the 20th. She said he wasn't himself that day. And then also Monica didn't offer food. And again, just to offer somebody food is nice in one manner, but then from an Italian standpoint, you better be offering food. that's just part and parcel with it, food, coffee, you just better be offering that. And rightfully so. She said they were hungry and nothing was offered to them. So, a little weird. So then Monica called the day of, so the 23rd, Monica calls Marilla and says, they killed Fabio. And then Jessica comes on and says, Daddy's dead. There was blood all over. Now, don't forget, it was Isabella that found Fabio. So it was Isabella that found him. And then she said their mother was recovering from cancer, so they told her a bit later. So I guess they told her like a day or two later, because on the 25th, that's when they all went to L.A. She said Monica was distraught and sobbing and sighing. So this is about the third or fourth time we've heard that Monica was like, she was like that. No tears, but she was distraught and sobbing. She was saying, they used vinegar. What was it, to get rid of the DNA? They didn't even use my knives. There was blood on the stains, but now blood stains on the floor, but it's clean now. And she said they went on like this tour of the house, which odd, I guess. She was pointing to the stains on the floor. They went to the master bedroom. She pointed out the blood stains there. She said the safe was broken. I think that's the first time we've heard about that. And then she was like going through Fabio's suit pockets, and he keeps money everywhere, and she said Marilla was describing it, and she pulled out eventually $800 Canadian, and she gave it to the mother. Odd behavior. Does that make her an accomplice? I'm not sure. Then Sal, David, and Henry all came over, and we heard from all three of those guys. And they all, Henry was HR, David was Fabio's direct supervisor, and Sal was like the GM. He was like the head of everybody. So they all came over, and we heard them talk about that. And Monica's sister, Marilla. I don't know the name of Monica's sister yet, but it was Monica, her sister, and then Marilla were there. They sat down with the guys, and they went over the financials, and they told Monica that Wella is prepared to do, whatever it takes. We're gonna take care of you. They talked about the 6-month salary, the life insurance. So here it is. 2 days later. I mean, and again, I understand that your breadwinner, if you will, is no longer winning the bread, and you are concerned because you do have 2 children. Granted, one of them is 19, the other one's 17, but. I can understand her being concerned about, paying the mortgage. I get that. I'm not going to put too much on her for that. I understand that she was distraught and she was looking for that. But when your spouse's company comes over and says, we're going to take care of you, we're going to give you 6 months salary, we'll make sure everything's okay. I mean, I would just kind of leave it at that. we heard then that she just constantly was harassing people, but I think I would just leave it at that. Nope. Super Ball. We're getting a Super Ball moment. What's up, Kitty? Well, let's see. Okay, yeah. So then Marilla said, well, maybe the three, if you guys are offering this help, well, maybe there's 3 girls in this house by themselves. The father, husband just got brutally deleted. Maybe we should get a security system. Let's beef up the security. And she said she was stopped. Monica stopped her, and she says, absolutely not. We're going to be fine. So I thought that was interesting. Marilla assumed she would be scared, but Monica said, nope, we're not scared. Sementilli power. So take that for what it is. If you want to read into that and say that was odd behavior, I can see that. If you want to say that's normal behavior, I can see that as well. Let's get to some of your chats. Dwayne, croc tears. Yeah, she never cried tears. Never cried tears. Dream Landry, you are welcome. Appreciate you liking the recaps. Just a swingin'. Dream Landry, just a swingin'. Gina Farley, yes, the house tour is creepy. Yeah, I mean, again, everybody grieves, right? Everybody grieves differently and all that stuff. I don't know. Hey, Old Line Red, how are you? The house tour is bizarre. Dwayne says, sounds like the company was generous to the defendant. Very generous, extremely generous. Yeah. Gave 6 months salary, and we found out he makes like $225,000 a year. So they were very, very generous. So 6 months, he was getting easily $100,000, So again, if you're trying to take care of finances and get back on your feet, and don't forget, Dwayne, the company, Procter & Gamble, paid for the funeral, paid for the wake, paid for, the events. And they came out, they had 3 or 4 people say, all the food, the table, the chairs. And it's not like it was like for 2 or 3 people. I mean, like hundreds of people would show up to these things, so it was probably $10,000. They would fly people in, they would fly the family in, hotels, hotel accommodations, cars. I mean, they really, really took care of them. So it wasn't just a financial, here's 6 months salary. I mean, they took care of everything, basically. So she would be allowed to grieve. So what did she do? She takes lewd and lascivious pictures. She's on a sidewalk with just a lingerie on top. She's making out with Baker. I mean, what are you doing? I don't know. Just weird. Shirley Roth, all those years she could have worked part-time. Sure. Especially when the kids are older, I would think she would want to have done something. Well, she did do something. She got into racquetball with Baker, but I would have thought she would have done maybe something philanthropic. She was a makeup artist and hairstylist. Why didn't she do that? Start her own salon. I'm sure Fabio probably would have supported that. Or maybe not. Maybe he would have been, I don't know. She could have done makeup easily, I think. Brenda Mayer, she was putting on a show. Seems like it. Krista Limited Edition. The emotions and looks on her face and still no tears. Agreed. Dwayne says, yep. Wow. P&J was very good to the defendant. Yes, they were unbelievable. Oh, P&J. and I think I just read that as P&J. Yes. P&G. Yes. Peanut butter and jelly. I got to pull that up again. Yes. Peanut butter and jelly was very good to the defendant. Drunky the Bear, you're going to go take your little kid, no problem. Fitness class, no worries. We will be here. So after this, we're going to play Megan Boswell. So we will be here. Baka of 3, she had no time for work. Yeah. I would think once the kids are like, the oldest was 19. Jessica was 19 and Isabel was 17. So I would think when Jessica was like 17 and Bella was 14, 15, I would think, yeah, your kids are pretty much grown. Start to branch out and do something, But I guess she did. All right. Let's get you back into the courtroom. We can zoom a little bit here. Cut off a few minutes. Right.
Just to give you an update,
Guys on the other side.
there are no protesters on Spring Street. The bad news is, as of 30 seconds ago, Spring Street is closed. So maybe it'll be open when you leave. I don't know if you go down Spring Street or not, but that's the update as of now. Ms. Sementilli, you're still under oath, and people may continue.
Thank you. All right. I think when we stopped for the break, we were talking about what happened on the day that individuals from Mela came to speak to the defendant at Queen Victoria. Were you also present when they not only talked about the life insurance but stock options and other benefits?
Yes.
All right. And at some point in time, did the individuals from Mela, like Henry Meyer, was he explaining things to the defendant with respect to what Fabio had signed up for in terms of benefits?
Yes, he carefully explained everything that he needed to share with her about the insurance and stock options.
And at some point after they left, the defendant say anything to you?
She said that she was going to get a family lawyer in case they're screwing her.
Okay. And did the defendant go into detail with you on what had occurred on the date of January 23rd of 2017 prior to Fabio's murder? Did she talk to you and the family about what they had done that day?
Yes. She told us we were all looking to find out what happened and how that day went, and she said that her and Fabio had a beautiful morning together. He had a colonoscopy appointment, and then they had a beautiful afternoon and a lunch together. They went to drop off a weed whacker, and then she dropped him off at home, and she went to Ralph's to pick up like veal cutlets to make fettina.
For dinner?
For dinner. And she told all of us, the whole family was listening to this.
And on that, on one of those days while you were there, around 5 o'clock, did the defendant start making certain comments about Fabio coming home?
Overruled.
She looked at her watch and says, "Oh my God, it's almost 5. Fabio's going to come home." Mike Obad, I believe, Deborah's husband, maybe his name's not Obad, but her husband, Mike, said, "Oh, I'm going to get a tequila. I'm going to pour a tequila for him." And then they started creating a shrine on his chair. The chair had a tequila, a cigar, his Big Daddy hat, and it kind of stayed like that for the next couple of days.
Big Daddy, is that a phrase you had heard before used in reference to your brother?
Yes.
Your brother was a sort of a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a very loving and huggy kind of guy, and he brought everybody in. He didn't discriminate. He was always very social and loved everybody, so he was like a daddy figure, looked out for everyone.
Showing you Exhibit 108, is this what you saw them put together?
Yes,
Set
there's
it on the chair with the
tequila,
and the picture of your brother,
the hat, the cigar.
And did you also see that the defendant posted something on her social media account, her Instagram account, with respect to setting up some type of a shrine on the chair that Fabio sat in?
Oh yes, her Instagram posts were very endearing. She was always very much in pain. She missed him, and you know, it just made us all feel helpless. We wanted to help her in any way we could.
Showing you Exhibit 109, is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Did the defendant talk to you about the patio cushions that we actually can see in 108 and 109?
Yes, we were looking at the crime scene as early as the Wednesday after, and everything looked like everything was back in its place. But she had described that everything was full of blood. There was blood all over the floor, and that when they pulled Fabio up, he still had a smoldering cigar. And she said that they wanted to, insurance or someone wanted to come and clean up the pillows and the floor and all that, but she said that Mike would do it. So I think they power washed all the pillows and the floor and everything, and then they turned them upside down, and we're good to go for Wednesday.
And that was with respect to the area where Fabio was murdered under the covered patio?
Yes.
And were you present that week when the defendant took some of your nephews and Luigi into Fab's closet?
Yes, I was there.
And what happened?
Luigi had asked for a few things, and then she came out with more clothing, and she asked the boys to pick whatever they wanted, take it. Do you guys want power tools? Do you want some of his tools? Do you want anything that you see? Go ahead and take it. And they're in shock. They're like, we can't carry power tools on the flight home because of the weight restriction. So they opted not to take any of that. They took some T-shirts.
So she was giving away Fabio's things to the nephews that while you were there?
That's overruled.
Yes, she was.
Okay. Did the defendant make any comments to Luigi while you were there that week about financial assistance?
Yes, she was reassuring him that your father took care of you. You're going to be okay, but you're going to get the insurance in Canada. You're going to have to help your sisters out. You're going to have to help us.
Okay. And had the defendant talked to you that week about the fact that there was Fabio had set up a Canadian life insurance policy through Manulife for Luigi?
Yes. I knew of this prior because of my divorce as well. We know that that happens in Canada.
It's part of the law there, yes?
Yes.
You said that you were very concerned about the safety of Monica and the girls, and so you said that you were asking the individuals from Mela about a security guard. Did the defendant say anything to you about whether or not she wanted to move and get out of that house?
No, she had mentioned that she can't afford to stay in the house, so she had to remove the gardener, the pool people, a few different things that she had to rearrange, but eventually she would want to find something smaller, another house.
Did she tell you that she did not want to move?
Yeah, she didn't want to move from LA or the house, but she had no choice.
And you said that the monitor, the DVR monitor on the counter was black. Did she tell you anything about why it was black?
No.
Did she tell you that the killers had taken their security system?
Yeah, she did.
Did Fabio ever mention to you his ability to monitor his home surveillance system remotely from his cell phone?
No.
Did the defendant ever mention that she had the ability to do that from her cell phone?
No.
while you were there on January 29th of 2017, did you attend a viewing for your brother at a funeral home and a service?
Yes.
Okay. And after that, was there a wake that night or a gathering in the backyard that was catered?
Yes, well, I had arranged for everybody to be fed and to be taken care of, so there was maybe 80 people in the backyard after the viewing at the funeral home.
And did the defendant say anything to you about what she was going to do that night when these 80 or so people were going to be coming to the house for this catered event?
Yes, she told me she was tired and she couldn't do anything else for the rest of the day. She was wanting to go to sleep. So shortly after, I asked for a cell phone charger, and I went into the bedroom, and she had her hair up in a bun. She was playing something on her tablet or a Sudoku or something. She had no makeup on. Her pajamas were on. And I just checked in on her and grabbed the charger, and I left.
Did she come back out at some point?
She did.
Okay. And where was the next time you saw her that evening?
Well, I was mingling with some of the Wella people, and I got tapped on the shoulder by Deborah Obad and said, "You got to help me. You got to help me get this guy out of here." And I turned around, and I said, "Who?" And then we got closer to where Monica was sitting, and I noticed she had her makeup on, her hair was down, and she was dressed up again. And there was this guy, the two of them were like kind of leaning into each other. And they were talking like they were in their own little world.
Where?
In the backyard, not far from where Fabio was murdered, sitting, the two of them. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just wanted to say that I was shocked because she looked like she was done for the day, and then she popped back out again.
Showing you Exhibit 45, what you see here, is this the area where you saw them sitting and speaking with one another?
Yes, and behind Robert Baker is my brother's shrine, the chair that he was murdered in. Yes.
That's what we see right here?
Yes.
And shortly after that, did you observe the two of them go somewhere?
Yes, I think Deborah was the one who asked them that we need to go inside. And then all four of us, Deborah, myself, Monica, and Baker, went through the kitchen door. We passed Monica's mother, Mela Crescentini, and as we're passing by, she was like standing there like a sergeant. And I'm still shocked not knowing what's going on, but he did stand out like a sore thumb because he wasn't a Wella person. So we don't know. Or family. So we don't know what he was doing there, but
and where did they go? Once you guys came into the house, where did they go?
So the four of us followed basically Monica. She went into a dark at you. Everybody's watching what's going on in Italian because I didn't want to embarrass her or him or my brother. Like, this is embarrassing.
Why?
Well, she's acting like she's in her own little world, talking to some strange guy. I just didn't like that. It was very not right to be doing, disrespectful.
And so in Italian, what you said to her, what is going on?
Yeah.
And what did she respond, if anything?
She was, "Oh, this is my racquetball coach, Robert Baker. This is my sister-in-law, Mela." And we shook hands. He gave me his condolences. And then she introduced him to Deborah. And then I think I heard her say, "You probably better you go now." So he got up, she got up, we all got up. And as we're walking towards the front door, again, Monica's mother's standing there looking at him with her eyes beady, and I'm trying to read this, what's going on here? And then as he was leaving, he wanted to nod and say goodnight, and she told him, "Fuck off."
In English? Or
Very
Italian?
loud, very loud in English. Late 60s, 70s age woman, and then she just screamed out, "Fuck off," like that to him.
Okay. And you were standing at the door at that point?
I was still behind near Monica's mom, and the door was 2 steps up. So
Okay.
we didn't go up the steps. He did with her.
At any point in time prior to this period, did Deborah ever mention to you that she knew that the defendant was having an affair behind your brother's back?
No. Sorry. She never said anything to us. It was devastating to hear that she may have known something, and she watched 20-odd family members crying, looking for answers, trying to figure out who would do this to my brother. And she had already known something and never shared it with us.
Did she ever tell you that she knew that Baker had slept over in Monica's bed while your brother was away on business?
No, she never did that.
To your knowledge, did she ever warn your brother?
No.
Calls for speculation.
That would be sustained.
Did your brother ever mention to you that he suspected Monica was having an affair?
No, he did not.
Was there a point in time when you and your brother were running salon shampoo in Canada where you were present when your brother became upset at the defendant when some men came to the salon looking for Monica?
It's overruled.
It was my birthday. A bunch of girls, we went out, and Fabio wasn't happy about that, but we just went out. Girls wanted to bring me out, and I enjoyed a great evening with all the girls and not paying attention to everybody and what they were doing. But the next day, some guys, nice-looking guys, came in, and they went to the reception desk and asked for Monica. And then the receptionist pointed, because I was at my salon chair, was right beside the reception desk, and I turned around, and the receptionist pointed to the upstairs mezzanine floor. So they walked through the salon, and they went upstairs, chatted with Monica.
Sustained? Stated. But I have to go through a balancing process. I sustained it on relevance.
Thank you.
And at any rate, from now on, when I rule on 352 objections, it is deemed that I've balanced the issues.
Thank you, Ron.
And at some point in time, did your brother become angry or upset because he thought perhaps something was going on that was
Yes.
not appropriate?
That's to this issue.
During the weekend that you were in Los Angeles after the murder, were you at the Queen Victoria home daily?
Sorry, repeat when?
After the murder, when you and the family flew in,
Yes.
were you at the Queen Victoria house every day?
Yes.
Was there a particular day where your significant other went with Monica somewhere?
Yes, they went to go retrieve the Porsche.
Fabio's Porsche?
Yes, Fabio's Porsche.
From an impound yard?
Yes.
Okay. And while they were gone, did someone come to the house?
Yes, a neighbor had come by, and he brought in a DVD, and he said that this was the footage from the surveillance of the camera of his house.
And did you and several family members watch what was on the DVD?
Yes, Monica's mother said, go watch it before she comes home.
So where did you go to watch it?
We went up to Monica's office computer upstairs.
Your Honor, what's the people's next in order? Oh, never mind. I think that's already marked. Showing you what's marked as People 74 and directing you, this would be the second floor of the home?
Yes.
Towards the back of the large living area on the second floor. Is this the computer area you're talking about?
Yes, we were all kind of hovered around the computer.
And did you all watch the footage that this neighbor had brought over?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And when the defendant came home with the Porsche and Marco, did you guys talk to her? Did you guys advise her that the neighbor had brought over a DVD with footage?
Yes, she came to learn that we had seen it because we were trying to explain to her that, we got an idea of what happened. Your neighbor came and dropped off the DVD. She was so upset. She made everybody feel so bad. You guys watched it without me. How could you? How dare you? Did you guys see anything? Did you see any faces? Did you see any skin color? And then she rushed upstairs. We kind of followed her to go watch it.
And so did she then watch the video herself?
She did.
Okay. And did she ask you questions other than whether or not you could see their faces or their skin color?
Yeah, my nephew had said he thought that one of them looked African American.
I'm sorry, objection calls for hearsay non-responsive.
Sustained.
Did the defendant ask you any questions about the video? You and the group of family members that had watched.
While we were watching it with her, no.
Okay. And when she first came in, you said that she asked certain questions.
She did.
And what were those things that she was asking you?
That if we can see any faces, any skin color, was it clear? Can you see it clearly? What they look like? What were they wearing? Like it was just boom, 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 question after each other, and we can understand why she was frustrated, but we were asked to go see it. We didn't do this out of any malicious reason.
Well, you were also interested in finding out who had murdered your brother.
Of course, yes, yes.
Did you keep in touch with Monica after you returned to Canada after your brother's murder?
Yes, I did.
And did you speak with her every week?
Pretty much every week, yes.
Okay. And you already told us that you followed her Instagram account. In terms of the conversations that you had with the defendant after that date, was there a particular topic that seemed to come up every time you spoke with her?
Yes, it was always, it would start with, did you get any information from the police officer? Do they have any leads? Is there anything that they have any answers to? And she says no. And I would say, I want to call, I want to talk to them. And she would say, no, don't call them. I only want them talking to me. I don't want anybody calling. And she would explain to me that she would tell them all the time that she was going to be living on their front stoop if this insurance money didn't come in. She had to remove all these things that they were like, she had to get rid of the cleaning lady, the pool people, the gardener, and she was struggling with financials, and she was always troubled by financials, and the insurance company wasn't releasing her, and she was like out of breath sometimes trying to figure out how she's going to get them to release her.
So, you mean law enforcement?
Yes.
And was the subject of money something that she brought up and complained about on a regular basis?
All the time.
And did the defendant tell you, when you mentioned that she would be sitting on their front stoop, does that mean that she was telling you that she was going to be sitting on law enforcement's front stoop?
Yes.
Because she didn't have money?
Yes.
Okay. Did she ever inform you that Wella decided to give her Fabio's full salary for 6 months along with their health care for free for her and the girls?
No.
at any point in time, did she tell you that she was going to Las Vegas?
She did. She told me she was going to Las Vegas with some friends, girlfriends.
Did she ever tell you that she was going to Myrtle Beach?
She did. She said she wanted to walk the golf course by herself.
Okay. And did she tell you why she wanted to go to Myrtle Beach and walk a golf course?
Yeah, it was like something my brother would have wanted to do all his life, maybe one day, and she thought that by doing it herself, she was doing it for him.
So, had your brother ever mentioned Myrtle Beach to you?
He was avid golfer, and I wasn't, but he's mentioned many golf courses. That might have been one of them.
Like Pebble Beach?
Yes, that one for sure.
You knew he was planning a trip with Marco and some of his friends for his 50th?
Yes.
All right. At some point in time, because of how distraught the defendant was regarding her financial situation, did you encourage Marco to assist her?
Yes. I told her, well, you keep calling them all the time, you keep bothering them, but, unless you're put in an official letter, I said, they might not take you seriously.
You told the defendant?
Yeah. And I said, if you want, Marco can help you draft it, and then just send him all the details so that, he can address it properly, or I don't know whatever happened after that.
Did she ever try to dissuade you from speaking to law enforcement or the LAPD yourself?
Yes. She even got upset one time that my son had called. And I didn't know that my son had called. And then I found out with a very stern voice. She goes, absolutely don't ever call again. Tell him.
And after the murder, did you, along with her family, talk about taking turns coming down to California to stay with her so that she wouldn't be alone in the aftermath?
Yes, we did for a while. If it wasn't her mom, it would be her sister or would be myself. We would rotate, or at least we talked about it. I used to do their hair, so we would catch up and talk about who's going next and so on.
When you say their hair, you're talking about Monica's family?
Monica's family, yes. Right. Mother and sister.
Now, at some point, did you talk with Monica, or did she talk with you about the fact that she didn't want any of you coming to stay?
Overruled.
Yes, it was around Easter time, and we went to the garage. We had my husband, myself, Monica, maybe one or two other people. We were just talking about how's everything going, and
was this the like the 1 month memorial?
No.
So
maybe. No, sorry. Yes, it was. It was, because the Easter was different. There wasn't. I had a house full of guests. It was the only time that really happened would have been at the 1 month memorial. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the 1 month memorial, is that like a tradition?
Yes.
All right. And did the defendant come to Toronto for that along with Jessica?
Yes, that's right. And I had some other guests as well. On that particular day, we had gone outside for smoke and asking her how things are going, and she's like, I'm sick and tired of this people coming in and out and all these people in my house, just leave me alone. If I want to fuck, I'm going to fuck. I'm a big ass girl. Just I wish they would leave me alone.
And was that when you were talking to her while she was smoking in your garage?
Yes.
And who else was with you?
My husband.
Marco?
Yes.
Okay. Did that statement come after you offered to come stay with her and help out with the girls?
Yes.
And did she turn you down?
She did.
At some point in time, did Monica talk to you and your daughter about setting up some kind of a college fund for her girls?
Yes, people were calling and wanting to know if they were accepting flowers for the funeral, or if there was a donation for the children, the girls' college fund. And my daughter took the initiative to suggest to open up an account so that people can donate to the college fund in lieu of flowers, both in the U.S. and in Canada.
Okay. And at some point in time, did the defendant talk to you and your daughter about the account that your daughter helped her set up?
Yeah, we were checking in just to see, how it was going and how generous people were, and she said she removed her daughter's names because she didn't want them seeing that they had money and privileges.
Okay.
And left just her name.
And she talked to you and Vanessa about this?
Yes.
At some point in time, after you were in Los Angeles for the week following Fabio's murder, did you fly back to Canada along with the family for various funeral services and things of that nature?
Yes, we all did.
Okay. And Fabio's body was also sent back to Canada by the company?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And by the way, when the defendant would go back to Canada, where would she typically stay?
With her mom.
Was that in the same area where you live, Woodward?
Yes.
Okay. And there was a funeral event?
Yes, there was.
And luncheon and some other events?
Yes, we did Thursday evening viewing, full day Saturday viewing, and then Thursday half a day viewing, and then Friday the full day viewing, and then Saturday was the mass, and then he was released and went to being cremated.
Had anybody in your family ever been cremated before?
No.
Was that something that upset you and your mother and your sister?
It's overruled.
It was very upsetting because my mom was standing right there and nobody asked her what she wanted. And we were all waiting, but she made an announcement. She said, your father would have wanted to be cremated, and I'm going to let the kids decide, but your father wanted to be cremated. And these 3 young kids agreed.
So, had Fabio ever mentioned cremation with you?
Not that I know of, no.
Well, you would remember something like that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Fabio was cremated at the end of these few days, correct?
Right. So what happened on the Saturday is after the Mass, Fabio went to the crematorium, and the majority of the guests went to a banquet hall to have some food and refreshments. And my husband, my nephew, and Monica's brother-in-law named Grant Larson went to the crematorium to be there for the procedure of cremation. The rest of us went to the banquet hall for a luncheon that my husband and I paid for, along with her mother, Mela.
Okay. Philomena. And temporarily, what was done? Well, it's not temporary anymore, but at that point in time, what was done with his remains? Well,
when we were in LA, we were told day to day something different, and then finally she had decided that she was going to expedite or bring my brother back to Toronto because he always wanted to go back to Canada. and you need to plan. You need to call the cemetery in order to accept the body coming in via airline. So I needed to know this information, and I called my cousins who had just experienced lots of loss, and I knew they knew their way around funeral homes, and they said they'd be more than happy to help, and they were on the other end helping by going to the funeral home and setting up the funeral procedures for when we get there.
Okay, but my question was, what was done with his remains after he was cremated?
So in that preparing, because it was last minute, they offered a crypt that they bought as a family burial ground, and for temporary use, she can put his ashes in the full crypt, and
that's where he remains.
that's where he is today.
So she's never purchased any crypt,
Nothing.
location.
No.
So his remains are in a cousin's-
Temporarily laying in my cousin's family crypt.
for the last 8 years.
Yes.
Due to the traffic situation, we're going to adjourn at this time.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be in adjournment until 9 o'clock on Monday. 3 things I need to tell you. First is the admonition, as always. Do not discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else, or form or express any opinion to you. Brooke, let's go off the record as to the last 2 things. Next, as a judge...
Yeah, it's weird. They just like cut him off. The judge is like in the middle of a sentence, and they just cut him off. That's it. You're done. Super Ball. Oh, Florida PI Sam. Super Ball is the world's greatest lap cat. That she is. Therapist, you know. Super Ball, the super cat. Yes, she is. Super Ball is the world's greatest lap cat. Dwayne says, "There's my little furry friend. You are welcome." She says hello. Hey, Mona. Woohoo. I get to see the not boring witness. Good to see you. Oh, Super Ball is back. You're going to see a tail. You're going to come pop. Get yourself comfortable. There you go. Okay. Now you're comfortable. Okay. Get yourself sorted out. All right. Yes, Brenda Meyer, she had no intention of doing anything with his remains. All right, so we'll recap, and then we're going to go on to Megan Boswell. We have it set for 2, but I think I may change that to like 2:45. All right, so we are listening to Mela Sementilli. This is Fabio's sister. And then she kind of talks about that day that Monica was saying, well, I went to this Target, then I went to Ralph's to get meat. And then she's like, it was almost 5. Actually, it's not. Yeah, no. Okay, so let me just pick up here. So they're hanging out, right? And afterwards, and it's almost 5. She's like, oh, it's almost 5. Fabio's going to come home. And then Deborah Obad's husband said, I'm going to get some tequila. And then they created this shrine. Was there when Monica said, oh, okay, so yeah, so then the cousins come over, Luigi and his cousins come over, and Monica's like, do you want power tools? Do you want stuff? And they're like, we can't take power tools with us on the flight back. Again, does that make her an accomplice to murder? I don't necessarily think so. But then she's like, Luigi, you're going to get the insurance, so you're going to have to help us and your sisters. We heard that from Luigi. He definitely said that. She knew about the Manulife and Canadian life insurance. Let's see. She didn't want to move from LA or the house, but she had no choice. So that's what Monica was telling Morella. She's like, money is scarce. We can't, I'm going to have to sell the house and move into a smaller house. She never heard about the monitoring security from the cell phone. So we've heard the state talk a lot about, could Fabio monitor the security cameras from his cell phone? And they're saying that's what she was doing at Target. She was looking at the security system. Then there was a caterer event, and Monica said she was tired and she wanted to go to sleep. So this was that Wednesday afterwards, right? So she wanted to go to sleep. So she went into the bedroom, and Monica had her hair up in a bun, and she was playing a game on a tablet. She was in her pajamas, no makeup. And then Marilla comes back out, and Deborah said, "You have to help me get this guy out of here." So here's the first time we're kind of hearing Deborah saying she doesn't like Baker, right? And Marilla's like, "Who?" And then they go outside, and Monica she's got makeup on, she's all dressed up again, and Monica and this guy were leaning into each other and talking, and she was shocked, meaning Marilla was shocked because she looked like she was done for the day, and then here she's popped out and she's like dressed up to the nines and ready to go. So then they showed a photo of Baker and Monica sitting next to each other. So then Monica and Baker still at this event for Fabio, right, who was just deleted 2 days before. So Monica and Baker get up, they go inside, and Monica's mom was standing there like a sergeant looking at them. And at first I thought she was talking about Marilla because she said she followed them, but further on I think no, she was not. She was mad at Monica and Baker. And this is Monica's mom. So she said Baker stood out like a sore thumb because he wasn't family, he wasn't part of Wella. It's like, who is this guy, right? And I guess Monica didn't have any other friends over. So let's see, followed Monica. Okay, so Marilla and some friends, they all followed Monica into a dark room. Baker sat in front of her on the ottoman, and they were in their own little world talking to each other. Then they were introduced to each other, meeting Marilla and Baker. And Monica's like, this is Baker he's from LA Fitness. He's racquetball instructor, all this stuff. Monica's mom was looking at Baker with beady eyes. So sounds like Monica's mom did not like. Then we heard Monica's mother, who we don't know her name yet, she said, she's like 60, 70 years old, this little old lady, and she's like, F off, she actually said it. And she said it was very loud. Everybody heard it. So Monica's mother does not like Baker. They never knew, Marilla never knew about the suspected affair. Let's see. Monica and Marilla's, she said partner, but then she said later husband. So anyway, they went to retrieve the Porsche from the impound lot. While they were gone, the next door neighbor came over and said, "Hey, I've got a DVD of the surveillance of from his house." Monica's mom said, "Go watch it before she gets home." Again, does not sound like Monica's mother likes Baker at all. So they went upstairs to watch it. Then when Monica got home, they told Monica they watched it, and we have an idea of what happened. To which Monica got very upset. "You shouldn't have watched that without me. Did you see anything? Did you see any faces or skin color? Was it clear? What were they wearing?" And then Monica went up to watch it. And then, let's see. Then after that, every conversation Marilla would ask, does law enforcement have any leads? Are there any answers? Of course, that's what anybody's going to ask. What the heck? Any leads? What's going on? And Monica says no. She emphatically says no. Don't call them. I'm the only one that's talking. I only want them talking to me. Again, would you do that if something happened to your spouse, or would you want the whole entire world calling, harassing law enforcement and saying, help, help, help? Monica would be sitting on law enforcement's front stoop because she didn't have any money. Monica would kept saying she was troubled with finances. Law enforcement won't release her, so she couldn't get any of the insurance money. So, Dwayne, that answers your question from earlier. So law enforcement released Luigi, who was in Toronto, so he's not even close to being a suspect. The two daughters, they're not suspects, so they released them, which meant the insurance company needed that release. So then that means that they could now get the insurance money. They would not release Monica because she was a person of interest. So I hope that answers your question, Dwayne. She said she brought that up all the time. Marilla never ever heard about that Monica was getting 6 months salary and free health care. So 6 months salary, he was making like $220, I think. So half of that, $110. He's making $100,000. She, in other words, is getting $100,000. So, and she wanted more. Marilla was told that Monica was going to Las Vegas with girlfriends, and we know that now is a lie. She wanted to go to Myrtle Beach by herself to walk a golf course in honor of Fabio. We now know that's a lie. And then she sternly told Marilla's son not to call again. I guess he was calling to check up on her. Let's see. At the 1-month memorial, Monica came over to Marilla's house in Toronto with Jessica. And Monica says, "I'm sick and tired of people coming to my house. If I want to go out and do the do, I'm a big ass girl and I can just do that. I just wish people would leave me alone." Then Marilla's daughter suggested opening up a college fund in Fabio's memory, but Monica removed her daughter's names, which was Isabella and Jessica, so that they wouldn't see they had privileges. They wouldn't see they had the money. Then she talks about Fabio being cremated and no one else in the family had that, and it was very upsetting to Mom because nobody was asked. And a therapist, you said that is the spouse's decision. Sad as that is the spouse's decision. You may disagree with it, but same with the spouse gets everything, and the spouse has every right to do whatever they want to with that. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Unless you have a will, unless you specifically say, this is going here, this is going there, the spouse gets to make all those decisions. Monica said the kids would make the decision, but your father wanted to be cremated. So then after Mass, Fabio was cremated. And then to this day, Fabio's remains are in a cousin's family in a temporary crypt. That's pretty cold. Yeah, that is definitely pretty cold. I don't agree with that, but I don't agree with a lot of things that Monica says and does. All right, so that concludes day 9. So Monday we will pick up on day 10. And we will be up to date. So we are concluded with that. So what do you guys... Dwayne, you like how the mic changes? Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can set it for just one color, but you need a PC to do that, and we're on Mac, so I'm cool with the changing of the color. Ken Rosenberg, well done. Appreciate it as always. Thank you, and I appreciate that you appreciate it. Let me go back a little bit here. Dreama Landry, law enforcement has given her a place to live. That is true. Hey, Mona, a smaller house with Baker. Yep, that is true as well. Ken Rosenberg, video journalist adopting the judge's mannerisms. Yeah, well, that was in response to him being cut off. Therapist, sad but true. Yeah, spouses get to make those decisions. Ken Rosenberg, yes, and this is why you should have a will. Absolutely. And if you don't have a will, then the state gets everything. So better to have a will and give it to somebody than to have the state get it. So, and Dreama Landry, you are quite welcome. Dwayne says, Monica seems like a grumpy life ender. Yeah. Dwayne, you didn't hear the opening. I mean, yeah, it was 5.5 hours. No, wait, 5 hours and 15 minutes by my estimate. So a little bit less, give or take, but it was over 2 days, and they actually had to skip a day because Miss Silverman got in a car accident. So grumpy. Okay. Yeah. Dwayne, you missed. It was pretty salacious. There are like thousands of photos of her naked, crotch shots. We of course didn't see them, but they talked about them and they put them up on the screen, but they had a little icon over them. But yeah, Monica is I don't know if she's grumpy. She's something. Shirley Roth says in Quebec. How do you say it? Is it Quebec? I always said Quebec, but I hear people say Quebec. We can do a handwritten will. Shirley Roth, I'm glad you appreciate the updates. No problemo. Therapist, and I appreciate that you appreciate, he appreciates that you appreciate. Hope you all appreciate that. Yes, it's a big appreciation fest. All right, I'm going to take like a 15-minute break. We said we were going to do Megan at 2, but I'm going to change that to, we'll change that to 1:45. Hey, Mona, I wish the motions hearings were available. They're not, huh? Yeah. Shirley Roth, I'm right. So Quebec. Oh, second way is correct. Quebec. Yeah, Dwayne, go back and watch the day one. It's pretty salacious. And if you know that and you hear Miss Silverman, she always is like railing on that. Like whenever she says, and Monica was, she didn't go alone. She went with Baker, and she's always like throwing back in the face of like she was a hussy. She was a hussy. Wow, there's holographic wills? They're allowed in at least some states? Interesting. Oh, the handwritten ones are called holographic wills. Interesting. I did not know that. Oh, Krista, I'm doing awesome. Quebec. So, all right, cool, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Please come join us for potato, right? Tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. Thank you for joining us for day 9. We are now caught up, and we will continue on with day 10 come Monday. Now, don't forget, they are off like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday. They're going to be off for quite a while. So we will take that time to catch up on Megan Boswell. There's a Maya Kowalski hearing, appeals. Next week is not going to be slow by any means. So Dream Landry, thanks. Oh, Ken Rosenberg says, see y'all in a bit. Dream Landry, thanks you, Aaron.
Thank you.
So Aaron says, thank you. So again, thank you to Aaron. Thank you to our mods, OnlyFan and Julie, Therapist Florida PI Sam was with us. Some of our mods were off today, but we will say hello to Hellcat, Brat, and Widespread Panic, Jules, and Rachel B. There you go, Shirley Roth. Just enough time to put your groceries away. Right on. All right, I will let you guys go for now, and we will see you. Yes, Debbie Blair, the Maya hearing should be good. That's about they're appealing. They want a new trial, and they want to vacate the verdict. So yeah, okay, yeah. Krista Limited Edition. We are going to Megan Boswell day 4. Oh, I'm sorry, day 3. So it's basically yesterday. So they're live now, but we're always a day behind because we're doing this. So we're going to go to Megan Boswell day 3, and we're going to stream the entire day. So I will see you guys on the other side, and thank you for joining us. And we'll see you in like 15 minutes or so.